You're taking this singing thing a little too far now.
I'm sorry.
You're
all right.
It's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine because you were, to be fair, it's not that you just started doing that. You started doing that before we started recording, and you were singing everything you were doing in that cadence, and I was like, what is she doing?
Okay.
Oh, my God.
To be fair, which I guess you wouldn't really know about, but when I'm alone in my house, I turn
No, just end it right there. Just end it right there. When I'm alone in my house, period.
I turn everything into a song.
Oh, God. I love it so much. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Brightside with Mikey and Rachel. I am Mikey.
I'm Rachel, and this is the podcast where we talk about Lindy Hop, our opinions, and my personal secrets.
I like internet.
You said you like internet, and I said I like cake.
And that cracked my shit up so hard. You just said it like, I like cake.
I like cake. I like cake.
Was it like you said it so profoundly that I like saw and I could feel the period on the end of that sentence. I was like, okay.
That was the end.
That was the end. How you been? No, I asked first.
I've been good. Good.
We're still 9 hours apart, which is
still 9 hours
horrible.
apart.
Horrible.
Yesterday, I spent the whole day chasing after a package. A package, if you will.
Was it a big package?
No, it's a UPS package. And here's what happened.
I'm sorry.
They were like,
oh, God, that was too funny. Sorry.
Your package is at this location. And I was like, sweet, that location is super close to me. So I go to it, and it's a garage to the hospital, to Kaiser. I know.
Oh, from down the street from your house, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a loading dock, and there's like a bunch of big burly dudes like moving shit around, and I'm like, well, I don't feel comfortable being in here, even if it's broad daylight.
Package,
so
UPS,
then,
big
then
dudes.
I like go into my like confirmation email, and then they're like, and I like go onto the website and like, input everything. And I'm like, is this the right location?
Mm-hmm.
Then they're like, actually, it's on Hollywood Boulevard. And I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty close to me. I'll just call them to make sure that they've got my package. So I call them, and they're like, no, we don't have it. We don't know where it is. So then I have to call corporate, and they don't know where it is either. They can't find it. And I guess...
What the hell?
To preface all of this is that my building is very old, and so you can't just buzz somebody in when they're at the front door or at the front gate.
Yeah,
they have to have a key to get in, and so it's really difficult to receive packages here. So we have to like send them to a UPS store or like get an Amazon locker, and but UPS sucks so badly. Like, we have more problems with UPS than anything else in the world. It's terrible.
What can Brown do for you?
Exactly.
They could show up once in a while.
Am I right or am I right?
You're so right.
You're so right.
You're so right,
brah.
Like UPS. I am in the main office of Swing Maniacs Madrid, which is hilarious because like over there, and I'm pointing to my left, over there is like a big garage door opening. It's like the front door, but like they close it down, so it's not the front door of this place. And so like I can hear like the huge trucks go by and like people just yelling and like hitting stuff. So if you hear like metal hitting metal, like a garage door type thing, like it's people outside. Yeah, that'll happen every once in a while. There's a lot of,
or it's a ghost.
It's a ghost.
It's a ghost.
It's a Spanish ghost, so it's kind of lazy.
Olé!
All the stereotypes. Okay. So yeah, I just taught beginners.
Ooh, how was
for the first time.
it?
It was nice. It was good. It was a good class. It was a 2-hour class. They call it low cost Lindy. And the reason why is because it only has one teacher. So it's low cost Lindy with one teacher.
That's really funny.
It's really good. It's really good. But before we go into our main topic, I want to talk about the passing of our dear, dear Lindy Hop friend, Miss Dawn Hampton.
Yeah.
Last week, we all got the news that she had passed away, and there's been a surge of videos and amazingness online that I've been discovering and rediscovering.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched any of those videos online because like they're so good. There's one of just like harangue in like the mid '90s,
Yeah.
where it's just her. Oh my god, like that, just watching that influenced my like whole last week in the style I was teaching and the stuff I was dancing. It felt so good to like be re-inspired just by the simplicities of like feeling music again.
Yeah. Did you see
And
the
it was really
one
good.
the one of her dancing in the rehearsal for Malcolm X?
Yeah.
They're just like warming up and
Yeah.
she's like killing it.
There's a video where I have in my secret stash where she's dancing at the Cat Club with the New York Lindy Hoppers, and she's like killing it like that. Like her feet never stop moving. It is insane.
She's
and
good.
so amazing. Yeah, like I remember seeing her before her sciatica started really bugging her, and she couldn't really dance all the time.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing her dance and I'm going, holy shit, like that's insane. Like, and she was already up there, getting older in age. I mean, she was always younger than Frankie,
Right.
but still, like she had a series of problems, but like she could still move. It was just so great to like see her like kind of like a little quintessential like old person, like moving very slowly, and all of a sudden the cane drops, and then she's like busting a move, and
Yeah.
the song ends, and then she's back to like moving real slowly. Like it's so cool. I remember her in harangue, and in harangue, I don't know if you remember this, but like in the main upstairs ballroom at the Focus,
Yeah.
they have like that little like ledge on the side of the dance where like they would sit up there, like Frankie would sit up there, and Chaz
Yeah.
and Don would sit up there. It's like their little booth,
Yeah.
so they can be a little bit further away from the dancers so they don't get kicked, but at the same time so they could watch all the dancers. And they would all start the night there, like Frankie and Chaz and Don, and every once in a while they'd dance, and then Frankie would leave, and then Don and Chaz would be there hanging out, drinking a little something, and just watching dancers, enjoying the live music. And then Chaz would leave, and then I'd be dancing up there around there, and Don was still there, and I like look at the clock, and it's fucking 3 a.m., like Swedish 3 a.m. And then like an hour later, I'm still dancing, and then I look back, she's still there. 4 a.m. And like the sun at that point in harangue, the fucking sun's coming back up. She's still there. She would outlast all of her like help. They would give her a volunteer to like help her out, like walking around, anything she needed,
Yeah.
personal assistant type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And she would outlast them. Like they would be like falling asleep at the side of that little stage, and like just wake me up when you're ready to go. And like Dawn would just be like sitting there. And I remember I asked her once. I was like, Dawn, like you're here real late. Like, why don't you go home? Like you're like, no, I don't remember what I said. I just remember asking her like, why does she stay out so late? And she had just said to me, she just turned to me and like brought me in real close because she could, her voice wasn't super strong.
Yeah.
And she's like, because I want to see what you kids are doing. and she just gave me that look, like wide-eyed look, like like what I mean, all the things, dancing and bad stuff, like
Hello.
like it was just, she was so cool. Like I think there was no joke that went over her head. Like
She was
my fondest
sharp.
my fondest memories of her are in harangue. There was another time where there's this guy, I can't remember what he was playing, like some kind of instrument, and it was during the cabaret night, and he like, I dedicate this song to Dawn Hampton, and she was sitting up there, doing her thing, and then he starts into his song, and all of a sudden, Dawn fucking shows up on stage. Like it was not planned. We asked him afterwards. He's like, no, I didn't know what to do. Everybody just said keep playing. So his like 2 to 3 minute number became like a 4 or 5 minute number, because Dawn got up on stage. Because she's like, well, if it's for me, then I'm going to go up there and dance. And she went up there and started dancing on stage. And it was awesome. It's one of those things that you hear about harangue where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah.
And it was recorded. All things in harangue are recorded. And it's in the vault somewhere in harangue. So hopefully someday it'll pop up again, because it was just so amazing for her to just like pop up on stage and be like, oh, this is what it felt like to watch her just perform and be like the awesomeness that she is. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so they started a You Caring campaign for her that is online right now, and they were looking to make $10,000 to help with her services and celebration of her life, and deal with the stuff that comes with passing away.
Yeah.
And they were looking for $10,000, and they've already reached it a long time ago. But now I'm looking at it, and they're about $12,000 in. So that's really good that the rest of her family and knows that the Lindy Hop community cares, and that's so good for everybody out there to, if you donated, that's awesome. If you still have a chance, if you go to youcaring.com/Don Hampton and help out as much as you can. If you can't, no problem, it's okay.
For sure.
But yeah, good times, man. Good times. Did you have Lindy Groove this week?
I did not go to Lindy Groove. I was planning on it, and I was so pooped out. I just went to sleep instead. Just totally pooped out.
It was a tough week. We were trying to get together the past couple 3 days again, but my internet crapped out. I'm sorry. We had each other for 5 minutes, and we were talking about some really good topics.
We had good stuff
I was
going.
really fired up. But it's good. But we're gonna get into it today, and it's
we're getting into it.
We're so getting into it.
We're so getting into it, you guys. Okay, so
I'm gonna into it so much that you can't even see me anymore.
Okay, literally, do you even know? Because I mean, I think you don't.
I think I know, but I don't think I know that I know, because I know what I don't know is I know.
Oh, totes.
That was deep.
It was a real deep conversation.
FaceTime high five. FaceTime high five.
Cool.
So I taught this P1 class tonight for 2 hours, and it was brand new people.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, these are well-adjusted, probably over 20-year-old people in Spain that have an idea of jazz music and have an idea of swing dancing, and it's so weird because when I think about my first time in a dance class, holy crap, I was a kid. I can't remember the feeling I had. I just remember dancing in a class with a bunch of kids and it feeling so good. And now that I'm teaching classes like this or classes to kids, it's such a the circle is complete type thing, or every time I teach a beginning class or a kids class, it always feels like that. When's the last time you taught a beginning class? Was that Lindy Groove?
Yeah, it was last week. Last week.
Yeah. Not this week that just happened, but the week before.
Yeah, it was the week before. It was a small class. Oh, this week's topic, by the way, is teaching. If that wasn't clear. It was last week.
Well, but here's the thing. If we say it out loud, then it's not a surprise. We just get into it. It's a conversation.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here. Surprises. Surprises.
Supplies.
Okay. Yeah. So I taught a beginner class last week. It wasn't our best class, but I think it was because the class is a little bit smaller. Yeah. And anytime the class is small, people start to get really quiet.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like below 5.
Yeah, at Lindy Groove it's below 80. So
Jesus Christ, that's so insane to me.
But so I don't know. They were just really quiet. I was cracking jokes and being my usual awesome self and
Muppet self.
My usual Muppet self, and they just
Laughy.
They just weren't responding very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I even we did our our usual thing, for forwards and backwards, triple steps. The leader gets in front, leader comes back to the side, and then we did a circle. We blazed through it. They did great.
Nice.
And so it's okay, after the circle, we'll do a little mess around, because it's fun.
Because it's a mess around.
And usually, when I put that into a beginner class, everybody goes wild. They're like, this is so much fun. And everybody was like, huh. And I was like...
I'm gonna say it was because of the presidential debate that happened last week that everybody was just out of it. They're just we're all in the shitter. Why are we at a swing dance class? What's wrong with us? And it just goes, Okay.
But that's actually, it's one of the reasons that I love teaching beginners so much is that they're so, like, it's so easy to
Yeah.
get them excited.
Oh, totally.
And you
Yeah,
can get them pumped about the dance so quickly, whereas, like, the intermediate students are like, "Ugh, I'm so awesome. Give me
Like a little jaded.
Give me a challenge. Challenge me." And I'm like, okay, I am challenging you. You just don't
Challenge
realize
me.
it. You just
Challenge
don't know.
me. What's wrong with you?
Challenge me. Where are the cool moves? I need the cool moves.
Jesus. You're missing it. It's called the mess around.
It's
the
called
coolest
the
move
mess
ever.
around.
Yeah.
Ray Charles wrote a song about it. Maybe you should go
Seriously.
look it up.
Also, it's about sexy time. But
Hello.
that brings up a good thing because like as you were talking about it, like I was like, when was the last time I was in a class where I was like I wasn't feeling it, and I can't remember. Like
Yeah.
there's got to be once or twice that I was in a class and the teacher wasn't feeling it, or like there was no good rapport between the students and the teachers. But do you remember the last time you were a student though?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I do. I was at harangue. I don't remember who was teaching. I think it was.
I mean, any story that brings in harangue is always a rut-row.
a retro. I think it was a Swedish couple, and like
Even better.
even better. I just could not get into the class, and like
Yeah.
I don't know. I ended up leaving actually. I was just like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
done. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm done taking this class. I don't want to do it anymore.
I mean, that's so good though. That's so good. I mean, as a student, I feel like like if you're really honest, especially like a place like harangue where there's like shit tons of classes.
Oh my god.
It's probably better that you're like, for everybody else's sake and your own kind of personal like well-being, that you kind of like, I'm gonna remove myself from the situation, and I'm just gonna go like have an ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think that's probably what I ended up doing. I was like, I'll go get some ice cream now.
But do you remember being in a class where you were teaching and you bombed so hard that you were like, I just want to leave now. I just want to leave.
Oh man. It's been a really long time since I felt like I bombed a class.
No.
Oh, well. Okay, well there was a couple instances. My first one, the one that I can like really remember bombing was I was flown out to Houston to teach a workshop at Rice University.
Mm-hmm.
And I was teaching with Kevin Clark, and we had this class planned.
That guy.
That guy. God. Ugh. Kevin, I know you're listening. Hi, I love you. I just waved at you even though you can't see me.
She did. She totally waved. I was like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Why are you waving at me?
We taught this class. I don't remember what we taught, but the way we presented it was really confusing. Like we didn't show them the material ahead of time. We were just like,
yeah.
we were like, now we're gonna do this,
Boom.
and then it was supposed to have this come together feeling at the end of the class. You know those classes.
Yeah.
But it didn't because we didn't understand what we were teaching well enough.
Yeah.
And so we were like, people were asking questions and we were like, do we do this? I don't know. And like, we just didn't have like a good control of the class. Like it was getting out of control because people were lost and
Yeah.
it
and then
didn't-
everyone's asking questions and like they're like, fuck the system. They're like not even raising their hands. They're like
Yeah.
coming up to you and being like, but what does this mean?
and it was,
What am I doing
and
with
it
my
was-
feet?
It was the first time I had been hired for an out of town event. And so it was like, there was like a lot of pressure to do well and it didn't go well. And then there was another class that I taught a few years ago.
Oh,
Where,
now you're remembering. Now you're remembering the bombs.
where my teaching partner had said something like a little sexist in class. And the follows, it got really awkward because the follows came up to me afterwards and were like, okay, this person needs to you need to control this person. And I was like, I'm really sorry. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I agree that it was kind of weird. It was just like a really awkward situation.
Yeah. I was how do I say this? My bomb was last week.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like a half bomb though. Like
Okay.
I will say that I recovered, and I'm only gonna chalk it up to being like the way if I can notice that it's bombing, I'm gonna switch gears.
Okay.
And then if it bombs again, I switch gears again. Like that's
Right.
what I just,
Right.
But I felt so bad for my partner. It's my it was I think it was like our first time teaching together. As a sweet dancer from Barcelona named Noah, and we're teaching Balboa. First off, which is like not my strongest suit. Yeah, exactly. Right? Which is not my strongest suit, but I love it so much. I love Balboa. Like it is like my hometown dance. Like I fucking love it, and I understand it in such a way that it like makes sense for me. But since I don't get a chance to like do it so often, it doesn't come out as clearly as like my Lindy Hop teaching. But anyways, still no excuse. I bombed the first half of the class for sure. But here's the reason why, and I looking at it, I can understand it. We start out the class review of what they should have known. This is like a third level, like level 3 Balboa, right?
Okay.
And so they've had at least 3 to 6 months of Balboa before they've entered this class. So I'm asking to do stuff, and they're like, half of them are looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I'm saying the words that are on the they're on the like the syllabus. Like, how do you guys not know this?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I get a little bit frustrated, and that was my first red flag. Get a little frustrated, and I turn to Noah and I'm like, "No, we gotta change it up." She's like, "Okay," and then I was like trying to make them dance in one place, and not move back and forth with their basic, and then I like tried to give them a variation so they didn't have to think about just doing it in one place. They would do the variation in one place, and the variation was a little bit tough, and I went through, and I could in my head I knew what I wanted to do, but another one came out that's sort of similar, and I was like going back and forth teaching both of them, and I was like, "Oh shit." And then finally, I was like, that was the first time I changed gears, right? And then the second time I changed gears was when I noticed that. I was like, oh, no. So then I did another one that was a little bit easier variation. That was just kind of like sliding your heels back and keeping your feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And that went over a lot better, and they kind of understood it a lot better. And then when they got that, I saw what they were doing, and I was able to fix what they were doing and adjust that. And instead of them going back and forth, I was able to just have them, stand a little bit more side to side. And they were getting it, and then towards the end of class, everyone was a lot cooler. But like I turned to Noah at the end of class, I was like, "I'm so sorry. I know I changed without saying it, but I'm so sorry." And she's like, "No, it's okay. I mean, I was just there with you." And to her awesomeness, she just stood right next to me.
Just rode the
and
wave.
Like was like, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this for sure. She was a fucking trooper. But yeah, that was like the last time I really, really bombed. But I mean,
what was the worst class you've ever taught?
Oh, I can't even think about it. Like there was a couple. Like there was one where I was teaching with Laura Keat, and we were in Houston. It was a Houston Lindy Fest, and it was the first time we got invited to teach there. And we're teaching not the advanced invitational level.
Yeah.
It was like right below it.
Invitational
level.
Those assholes.
Yes.
What a bunch of dicks.
Oh, I mean, Rachel said it. I thought it. Rachel said it. We're like so connected. FaceTime high five. Bing. So yeah, not the invitational level, but like like a little bit below that.
What year was this? I
can't remember. Frankie was still alive.
Okay.
Because it was his last Lindy Fest.
Okay, I must have been there. It was like a 2009
yeah, you were there.
Or 2010.
I know
okay.
you. I know
was
you were
the
there.
Class?
I know you were there. I don't remember you being in the class. I can't remember for sure. But anyways, no, you weren't in. I don't know if you. Well, I don't know. Whatever. Point being, was me and Laura were teaching something like a routine of like some Charleston transition from Charleston Lindy Hop back and forth, and it was a routine going in and out of it. And it was a cool routine, but it was some hard stuff, like the same thing like you were saying earlier. It was like stuff that like, yeah, we could do it, but like we didn't really know how to teach it or present it.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of going through the motions, and people were getting like giving us the face like, "Oh fuck, this is stupid," like whatever. And then to like make it even better or worse, like however you want to see it, Frankie walks in the class.
Oh no.
And it was at the yeah.
My heart actually just sank.
Yeah. And it was at the JCC, and it was that room. It was that room that's like sunken a little bit.
Yeah.
Downstairs.
Yeah.
So it had a couple steps. He came in and sat down on the steps, and just chilled. He was there for like 15 minutes. He must have been there. He must have been there for like 5 minutes. But in my head, it felt like
an
the
eternity.
whole hour. Like, yeah. And me and Laura both like, I'm just gonna rock step. Okay, let's play music. Yeah, and it was so quick because then like someone came by and like tapped him on the shoulder and he's like, okay, we're ready for you, and like he got up and left, and he was just happy like looking at everything, and I mean I have so many feelings about it, but I just remember bombing in a class full of students at Lindy Fest in front of Frankie. Like that was,
you know what though, he probably
one of the best and worst moments of my life.
He probably wasn't even paying that close attention to what you guys were saying. He was just like enjoying watching everybody learn.
We will return to that moment many times in this podcast, but I remember one of the feelings that I remember from that time was like it was the best worst moment of my life because he was there and because we bombed in front of him, and it was such a learning experience too, because like after that I vowed to myself as a teacher and as a dancer that I would never walk into a class and present something that I didn't feel comfortable teaching.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you say that because I felt the same way after I bombed that class with Kevin in Houston.
Yeah.
Also in Houston, I was like, okay, I'm never going to do this again.
Yeah. FaceTime high five. Like,
Pew, pew.
boo. Like, seriously, like that is a mark of a good teacher, I think. Self-assessment, self-awareness enough to be like, I'm not good enough to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not good enough to teach that. So maybe can we find another way to do that? And I feel as a leader, like that means a lot because like if I can't lead it, then what the fuck am I here doing teaching it? Or what the hell am I gonna do to tell my leader or to my follower what I want to do when I can't even do it myself?
Yeah.
So it must feel like the same thing for you. Like if you're like I can't understand what this is, nor can I feel it. So how can I present it?
Exactly. You know? Yeah. I don't like teaching stuff that I'm not 100% confident. You know.
I mean, the first couple times that I taught a class, like a dance class, there was 2 events, and both were like I started teaching like more traveling and locally a little bit actually with Laura Keat.
Yeah. And
she was already awesome. She was amazing because she was taking lessons on how to teach from like an Arthur Murray type ballroom in Colorado.
Oh.
And yeah, so she learned how to teach some like really, really well. At least present things in a nice, comfortable way, and that means a lot, I think, when you're starting out. But I couldn't even fucking count. Like I couldn't keep a steady beat. I would be like, "All right, so let's do this thing. 5, 6, 9."
What comes after 6?
What comes after exactly.
6?
I was like, or I would.
Somebody tell me. I'm so confused.
You guys, I want to count for you, but I want you guys to all turn around and not look at me. Could you do that, please?
If everybody could just turn around while I'm counting. The pressure is so real.
It is. I am like you're saying it, and I am saying right now that is what I felt like.
You're looking you're looking a little red over there.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing to remember these moments. Like but here's the thing. Here's how I would hide it. I would hide it by like instead of emotion of like fear.
Yeah.
It was emotion of anger. It was
God.
like, look, guys, we're just gonna do this, okay? 5, go ahead.
and you go. Okay.
Yeah. You know the age old like dance teacher trick is and go.
Was it because you had just never been taught how to count, or it was something that you were struggling with?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Timing. I've never been good with timing. I think you know that. And and also I think in general like I was really learning how to teach on the job.
Yeah.
Like me and Laura, like I asked Laura to do this gig with me in Oberlin.
Okay.
It was like one of the first, like I think they still have it, the Oberlin Dance Lindy Hop weekend or whatever, and we were one of the first people to do it when they started it.
Okay.
And then she was like, "Oh, well, I got this other thing in Nashville that we can get like warm up to it because it's a smaller thing." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And it was me and Laura, Bobby and Kate, I think Sosh Howell.
Yeah.
And Lisa were teaching. I think Michael and Jaya were there.
Oh wow!
And it was but we didn't really know each other. Like Laura kind of knew Bobby and Kate, and I've seen Bobby before at some other event, I think in DC or something. And it was just so funny because we were like, ooh. I just remember going like talking to Laura. It's like, I think that Michael and Jaya people, they don't like us. Like, they gave us looks. Like, they gave us
That Michael
looks.
and Jaya people.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so funny and so weird. Like, we were so defensive, and I was just so stupid. Anyways,
God.
but it was a great event. It was really fun, but like I did not know what the fuck I was doing, and I
God.
just hid it behind this like luckily like growing up dancing in California, like it was like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
So I just faked it until I made it and like trusted on Laura for most of the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first couple times. Like, what was the hardest thing you did? Like, what was the hardest thing you had to learn to do when you were teaching?
Dance. Look,
Rock step.
here's the thing, okay? I'm just going to lay it out straight for you. I'm Jewish. And
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that. I didn't want to say it first. I just wanted to wait. I was like, you're Jewish. You're Jewish. You're
Jews
Jewish.
are not
You're Jewish.
known neither for their athleticism nor their coordination. And despite having done 12 years of martial arts before starting dancing, I'm just like a poorly coordinated. Like I have to put a lot of thought into something to make myself look good, and so. And also,
Yeah, I mean,
anybody
totally.
who knows my personality in any capacity, if you're listening out there, I'm sure you can assume that the way I move is very similar to the way that I talk, which is like flaily and big and like a little crazy. And as some people like to put it, out of control.
Out of control. Yeah, I mean, like, look who's talking. So, like, totally.
Exactly. and so it's like my final frontier to be like poised and graceful and just like let the movement come to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, totally.
It can be such a struggle when I'm learning something new to just like let my body take it in naturally. I have to really think about it to get myself going.
But you also said before, like, you had to like try it as well. Like, you had to like fit, like,
I have
thinking
to
it, but also feeling it. Like, you have to
I have to
actually
do
like
it.
experience it a few times.
Yeah.
And I wonder. Do you think that's a follow thing? Like, to really like feel it, because like you have to feel the connection, you have to feel the leader kind of start the emotion or something.
I don't know. That's a good question. Because I haven't really spoken to a lot of other follows about it. Because usually, like when I'm talking about dance, I'm talking about it with leads because that's who I'm dancing with. But that's an interesting question, and I wonder if that's how it is for most follows, or if a lot of other follows like approach it in a different way.
Like, I know, like in the sense of choreography or something. I was talking about Express Your Swing the other time, and a lot of different people like coming together and doing choreography, and it's so cool to be in that room together because it's such different styles of learning, different styles of approaching choreography, different styles of musicality, like so many things. And one of the ones that stands out the most to me is Vincenzo Fezzi.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker is like, he's great. He's been dancing, like, he's looked the same way ever since I've been a kid. I feel like I've changed and gone through many different levels, but he's looked and been the same person for like ever.
Okay.
And I love that guy. But it's so funny to watch him work because he just looks and he like takes it in like a blank stare, always with his hands behind his back in like this pose, ready, like holding himself back, but like experiencing the choreography and soaking it in. He's got to watch it a few times. He'll get it. He'll get it like fucking, he's known it forever. But like, he's just got to experience it and like see it again. So like in a group Lindy Hop number, everyone was doing it except for him and his partner, and they were in the corner, and he was just like hands behind the back, just like soaking it in. And then like they try it like a fifth time, and he'd like got it.
Wow.
It was amazing. I was like, wow, that's so cool. I have
to, like,
a little bit of that. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
little bit of that, and then but I still gotta try it at least once to see where I'm at with it, and like try it again. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need to work through it. I think the advantage that I had though, as far as teaching goes, is that I was doing a lot of teaching in martial arts.
Right.
And so I was experienced with being in front of a class and telling people what to do and being like, this is how we do something now, you know?
Right. How long were you teaching martial arts for?
Oh God, I started teaching when I was 13. So
Shit.
like teaching a class on my own when I was 13. So
Whoa,
I
that's
know.
cool.
Well, it's like it's part of the
I didn't even know that. I honestly didn't know that. I was like, I'm blown away right now. I was like, holy shit.
Well, okay, so how it worked was that when you become so when I became a red belt, which is like the belt before black belt, I think I was 11, and you have to start teaching classes or like helping out in classes so that when you get to black, like it's a part of like the testing,
Right, of course.
like moving up in the next level. So you have to like help
there's always
so
kind of
many
like
hours.
a course.
Yeah.
Syllabus type thing, yeah.
Yeah. So I started helping out in classes when I was 11, and then I got my black belt when I was 13. And then I was on staff with a school, and so I would teach classes on my own. And a lot of them would be like the beginner classes or like kids classes, like kids that are like 3 to 5 years old. There'd be 7 or 8 kids in the class, and I would teach it. But I did that until I quit martial arts, which was when I was, it was 2005, like right after I started dancing. So I was, how old am I? I was 20. I was 20.
Wow. That's cool. Because I think I met you like I want to say like 2008, 2009-ish, 2007.
Yeah, I think we met in like maybe like
It was at
2009.
It was at Lindy Fest where we were guests and I remember
that
was one of our
was
first
like
dances.
2011
Really?
when we first met.
No.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, cool. But like but you know what's funny is that like I'm genuinely surprised I didn't know that about you, but like that's kind of the same way it was for me too with starting the kids classes.
Yeah.
And like making my way up and like I was starting to help the teachers out, being an assistant. So I wasn't teaching, I was just kind of like the puppet.
Yeah.
And I was like maybe 14 or 15 when I started to be helping out in classes.
Okay.
So I totally remember that. And did you find that you would say, like when you started teaching on your own, you would say some of the things that you remember from helping out those other teachers?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
I would
you would like regurgitate exactly what they said.
Well, and like in Taekwondo, we were not allowed to joke around or like have side commentary. It was just like you teach the material,
Oh, wow.
you do the material. And so when I started teaching swing dancing, it was like a whole new world. A whole new world where
Don't
I
you
got
dare
to
close your eyes. Open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Where
Sorry.
I got to like I got to say whatever I want. Like the class was mine, you know? And that was the class is mine. It was as you could imagine, given my personality, that it was
a shit show.
It was a very liberating situation where like I was really able to discover who I was because I was a very shy person before then. And then as soon as I started teaching swing dancing and started going out dancing a lot more, I really opened up and like started to discover my personality.
That's when Laffy started to come out.
That's when Laffy emerged.
And for those of you who don't know that, like, because we call each other Muppets, Laffy is Rachel's Muppet name.
It is, and Mikey's is Chocolate, aka Coco, aka Coco Chanel.
I love that I have like AKAs for my AKA.
So this is what happened. I think it was Lone Star 2012. We were like hanging out and like having a good, and we were like just like joking and laughing, and you were like,
I think we're on the stairs.
Yeah, we were on the stairs, and you were like,
at the Fed.
You said something. You were like, oh, haha, you're so funny. You're like a Muppet.
Yeah.
Like if you had a Muppet name, I'm pretty sure it would be Laffy.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you're Chocolate.
And I was like, thank you.
Thank you so
my
much.
Gosh, thank you so much. That means so much to me.
And
that's when we became friends.
And that's when we became friends. And for a while it was just chocolate.
Yeah.
And then like maybe a year ago I was like, oh, like another word for chocolate is cocoa, and then I don't have to say chocolate. So then I started calling him Coco, and I was like, you know what's really funny is when Mikey's being a diva, if I called him Coco Chanel.
Fucking love it. It's so good. It's so good. Cause for me, Laffy for you is just because like you would just if anything is funny to you, you do not hold back with your laughing. You just fucking go for it. And So like when we're being super dickheads at like a late night event and we're just like nah, and we're like laughing in the corner maniacally, like just fucking like
Oh my god, we were a little crazy at ILHC. That's what you're talking about, right?
every time, all the time.
It's too much. It's too much.
So,
People have to think we're the most obnoxious people ever.
Good. I'm glad.
Good.
Fine.
Let
Good.
them
I'm
think
glad.
that.
Because as soon as they're thinking that, they're going and they see us not giving a shit, they're gonna be like, okay, now we want to join.
I
we
wish
want to join. What's funny? What's funny?
I wish I was over there with them laughing. Whatever they're talking about must be funny.
Are you guys laughing? Are you guys having a good time?
Hey
Are you guys
guys,
you guys taking a little joke?
What's going on over here? Is something funny going on?
Give a little punchline.
Yeah,
Go away.
I get it too.
You guys didn't see that, but it was funny for us.
Okay.
I've had classes where like this, where I'll just go on rants. And me and whoever I'm teaching with will just fucking laugh at each other for like a good couple minutes, and everyone will just be standing around going,
like, what is going on?
Uncomfortably, like, what the fuck is going on?
I have to imagine that that's particularly true when you're teaching in like another country where maybe they don't understand the context of the joke because it's like a very Americanized thing. And they're like,
totally.
This is not funny to us.
But that's when I find like the equivalent. There's always an equivalent in every culture. Like there's always something that and I just have to say like, you know, like football. And they're like, oh, yeah, football.
Is that your Spanish accent?
No, that's my just like Latin language accent. Because that could have been French. That could have been Italian. That could have been Spanish.
Could have been that Russian guy.
Yeah, could have been that Russian guy. Exactly. I mean, so many times where it's like, like teaching internationally is like I will bait them. I will bait them on. Like I'll find out something about their culture like that they really identify with. Yeah. And especially European cultures, because they are, I mean, not to put it in like a negative sense, it's completely positive. They're separate but equal. Yeah. Like, because they have the European Union out here, and like they're really close. They got open borders, but they're all different countries. And if you go like 100 miles in some direction, it's completely different culture. Yeah. Yeah. And they are very, very conscious of it, and they try to protect it a lot. Their own culture, like so, like oh, we're like this, they're like that. It's a lot of like this culture is like this and that culture is like that.
Well, I can imagine having such small countries, you know, like the European Union is just like all clumped together that it could be easy for everything to just get washed over.
Well, the thing is for me is like I feel like we have that in the States though. We have regional feelings, but we always gonna go like, well, that's what makes us American. Yeah. And like that's what I feel like is just missing a little bit out here. It's like, yeah, you could be like this over here, you could be like this over there, but like but you still all are Spanish. You still are all Latin speaking. You still are European. You know, like there still is kind of an overall arching kind of idea of being a European out here. The differences I find is in food, which is always very funny.
Food is king.
But I'll always find something like to interject into my teaching somehow. Yeah. Because while I don't think of it as like it needs to be a comedy show, I think comedy can help loosen people up a little bit in class, and it can get them more ready to experience something brand new if they're scared or nervous. So that's the way I use comedy in classes to lighten the situation or to make light of something. Hey guys, we're all doing this together. We're all gonna suck together. Yeah. So let's be good about this. You know, make people smile somehow.
I was in San Francisco a few years ago, and I went to a bar with Joe Hofberg, and we were.
Oh no! Oh that guy.
Question mark? And it was like a small group of us, maybe 4 or 5 of us, and we were just sitting at a table. They were like community tables, and these guys were sitting next to us, and you know Joe, she's like, oh yeah, beautiful, and they start talking to her because they're like overhearing our conversation, and so they're like very interested in her, and they ask her what she does for a living, and she did not say I teach Lindy Hop. What she said was, I teach people how to be better people.
Yeah, she always says that. She always says that.
And it was the first time I'd ever heard her say that. And I was, that moment has changed my teaching forever. Because as soon as I heard her say that, I was like, wow, like Lindy Hop could be so much more than just teaching people how to dance, because so many people in our community are like very socially awkward, or like have low confidence, are not like, you know, classically trained dancers, not the most athletic people.
And maybe not pick up on the social cues that a lot of other people have learned somehow in their life, and maybe these people haven't, and that's okay. That's cool.
And this is like a good opportunity to expand on that, like teach people how to dance, but also like teach them how to be people. And I think ever since then, I've been able to connect with my students so much better. Like I just have like a easier understanding of where they are in their dancing, and like how to relay the message to them so that they can understand it better.
It's so good to talk about this, because I think it hit me a long time ago when I first started teaching and going like, yeah, I could really affect people's lives, and like do this, like, and you know me, I'm super geek about like superhero stuff and like wanting to change the world, like type thing. Like that was always been an idealistic part of my personality. And then at some point it kind of went away. When I got a little jaded, and I was like, oh, it's just fucking Lindy Hop, whatever. Like, it's just fucking dancing. And then recently, like in the past like 2 or 3 years, I saw this thing, and I think it was like, honestly, I was talking to Zach Ricard from Montreal, and he was like, honestly, I really like teaching because he's saying, if someone's gonna give me money to like help them learn something new, then it's not just dancing to them, it's something brand new, so I can like affect their lives. And if I'm affecting it for a positive thing, then I'm really helping someone else's life out a little bit, and that's kind of cool. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know why I ever stopped thinking like that. Like it's such a stupid thing to not think of. It's totally fine for someone to enter a class, even if it's the first time they've ever taught a class, with this notion of like, I'm going to affect these people's lives somehow, at least for this next hour. They're going to be with me, and I should try my best to make it a good, positive feeling. And if they learn something new, that's my goal. But even if they leave this class like feeling better about themselves, or like they interacted with someone in a brand new way for them, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think that hits it right on the nose. That's like, that's something that I've really have subscribed to the past like 4 or 5 years now in my teaching, and it's totally changed how I approach everything, you know?
Even for me too, like hecklers, or people that are just not like in the mood of learning a class. Maybe they're there to prove a point for themselves, or whatever reason, and it's not to gel with a teacher, or they're not gelling, or they're not gelling with a teacher, or they're not gelling with the students, and they have ulterior motives or something. I think when they, like, people ask a question, that's what I mean by hecklers. People like saying, well, they do it like this, or I don't understand it, blah, 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 but like they're very needy of attention. And I finally learned, I was like, in that understanding, instead of reacting negatively to them, if they're acting negatively towards me as a teacher, I'm not going to act negatively towards them. I understand what they want. In the long term, they just want to have a moment where they can hear themselves speak out loud. And I'm going to give it to them. I'll give them that moment. I'll be like, hold on. And then I'll listen to them. And then I'll go, okay, that's really great. That's really good. And I'll give them positive reinforcement right there. And then I repeat what they said in maybe a way that everybody else can understand and I can understand. Out loud to the class. And they're like, yeah. They're like, this is not correct. This is different from this. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. It is different. Everybody, real quick, what was your name? Oh, yeah. So-and-so had a question, and it was, this is actually a little bit different from the regular version of this swing out. It's a variation. You might have gotten a class from this other person, but we're going to do it like this because we added on to this variation. So that's really good that you brought it up. Thanks for that. And he's like, yeah, totally. That's what I meant to say, you know? Like, and then I shit you not, every time that happens, that person never speaks up again in the class.
Yeah.
I'm like 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. And I'm like, cool. So positivity really does help. And if you're driving your teaching to help affect people and not just teach them a rock step, don't treat them like dummies. Don't treat them like peg legs. Treat them like people that like are coming to you for some advice, a little life coaching. You know, be better people.
Yeah, a little
like,
life coaching.
As Joe says.
Yeah. I really
So
like that.
How do you deal with hecklers?
I let them have their moment. Like I let them say their thing, and then I just level with them. I'm real with them. Like I had a heckler a few weeks ago where, oh God, I forget what he was talking about. It was in the beginner class, and he, like the drop-in beginner class at Lindy Grove, and he was not a beginner. He was like an intermediate dancer, and I think he was just like trying to say something out loud to make himself sound like, I'm above this class. I know this already.
I got this, everybody. Watch this.
Yeah. Oh, this is what he was saying. We were talking about like doing a circle, or I don't know. It had something to do with connection. And he was talking to Brett, and he was like, I can see that you're obviously pulling the follower in.
Oh, right. I remember you telling me about this.
And you said to not pull the follower in, but I can see with your arm that you're doing it. And Brett like started to engage him a little bit, and then he like backed off quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey man, like if like this is not really a topic of conversation for this class. Like if you want to get into it later, we can get into it after the class. But I think like for right now, we need to just like focus on what we're doing, because this isn't really relevant to this drop-in lesson where these people have never danced before. Like nobody knows what you're talking about.
At some level, as a teacher, you got to kind of like regain the control of the class, because you can lose it really easily. Just like someone like that, not saying that they're horrible people, but like it could mess up a flow of a class, and you really need that. And it's good for people to experience things like that, but at the same time, it's like being honest, being real. Like you were saying, like, hey, we could talk about this, but like for this class, let's talk about this stuff first, and then we could talk about this for like hours
later.
after this class.
Yeah. I could talk about that kind of stuff for hours.
Yeah. Oh,
we don't need to have like a 2-minute conversation right here and now. And I think like the other thing as an instructor, like my number one purpose in the class is to like have the class's interest in mind. And when someone wants to take it off the rails like that, like it's my responsibility to reel it back in and get it back on track. And sometimes totally. Sometimes you have to shut that person down so that all the other students aren't sacrificed.
Totally. Because like there's some moments where like I do this a lot, and it, again, 9 out of 10 times it always kind of works out where it's like I'll explain something. And like I've thought it out, and I'm watching everybody, and I'm seeing what they really need. So maybe I'll lean more towards this stuff, or lean more towards another piece of this technique. Yeah. And then I'll like talk for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll say, okay, let's try. And then there's always someone that's like, wait, but, because they don't really fully understand. And I'm like, hold on. I acknowledge them, and I'm like, I look at them directly in the eyes. I'm like, hold on, let's try it first, just a couple times, and then I'll get to your question. And then we try it a couple times, like 2 times, and then I turn back to that person. It's like, do you still want to answer your question? He's like, nope, you did it. And I was like, cool, perfect. Like 9 out of 10 times, it's not the acknowledgement. It's the thing of where they're going with. We're all on the same wavelength, which is really awesome. But it's a dance class. Yeah, we have to try it. We have to be textile with it. We have to try it. We have to feel it from each other, and then you can get your own answers. And I love that so much more when that happens. Yes. Not to say that's a thing of me being a teacher. That's a thing of like a dancer being, or like a person starting to become a dancer.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, because I wanted to ask you how you approach this when you're teaching new material. Do you break it down for them right off the bat and then have them try it, and then like break it down further and then have them try it again? Or do you do like, okay, this is what we're going to do next. Here's a little intro. Now you try.
It depends with higher level dancers in higher level classes. I will do that. I'll be like, hey guys, we got this thing planned for you, but first I want you to see it. I want you to try it. I want you to see what you get from watching a few times.
Yeah.
And see how you can make it happen in your dancing. If it's the same thing, awesome. If it's a different thing, even better. Refine it somehow. So then we show them, whoever I'm teaching with, we show them this movement, this feeling, and it's usually something pretty big so they can see it obviously. And then they try it a few times. And that takes up the first 5 minutes of the class. And I'm like, cool, now you have an idea to start off with. And now you could take it to different ends. Now we'll break it down. If it's a lower level class, I probably won't do that. I'll probably start with, hey guys, this is what it looks like. Cool. Now here's what it is geography wise, in the sense of like, don't worry about your feet.
Yeah.
This is the movement. We'll start here. We're going to come in through here. We're going to move around this way. We're going to turn maybe this way, or maybe we'll go out this way, and then we'll end up here. Okay, let's try it out together. And just kind of move your feet like, stuff like that.
Little
move
bunny
around
shuffle.
each other. Exactly, yeah. And that's like the gist. And then from there, I get a better idea from like if it's in a higher level dancers, I'll do it kind of monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
And then on if it's a little bit lower, I'll show them and then kind of walk through the geography, and then that'll inform the next step I take as to how do I present the rest of the material to them. Do I
Yeah.
need to break it down step by step, or do I need to break down the technique and let them try it a little bit and get their own idea out of it? It always depends on the dancers that are in the class a lot of the times. But even if it's a higher level, sometimes I won't even do it. I'll do geography first or whatever, It just depends on the mood, depends on the dancers, depends on what I'm feeling that day, but depends on the move itself, depends on the technique I'm working on. Yeah, it just depends on different things. What about you? How do you approach things?
Well, I mean, I haven't taught a more advanced class or a series in quite a while. So I'm mostly dealing with like fresh beginners or like intermediate dancers. But in my beginner classes, I don't break it down that much for them anymore. I'll show them a couple times, and then I create like catch sounds and words to like mimic what I'm doing, and then I have them do it, and then I like sing along with them. So like, for example, like when we do like our rock step, triple step, just moving forward and backwards, I'll be like this is what it is, and I'll be like rock step, triple forward, forward rock, triple back. And I'll be like, okay, now you try it. And then I'll say it as they do it. And I think, and then I'll be like, okay, let's just do it again. Let's just do it again. And then from there, I'll be like, okay, this is good. I want you to think about this now. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Try it a bunch of times and then think about a new thing and then try it a bunch of times for sure. You know what happened?
Oh.
That happened to me tonight.
Really?
Like just real quick. Yeah. Tonight when I was teaching that like beginning level class, it's just groove walks, they call it.
Yeah.
And it's basically like rock step and then walk forward, slow time three times, and then rock step and walk backwards 3 times. But like they were like really struggling. And then I was like, you know what? No music, no me talking. Just you guys try it out a few times, work it out, talk it out between you guys, count it for yourself, no pressure. And we did it a couple times, and they totally fucking nailed it after that. Like sometimes you just need a chance to just try it a little bit.
Yeah, and I find like, especially with like a Lindy circle or a swing out, if I'm like, hey, you guys, like, you know the footwork, it's just a new shape, go ahead and give it a try. They do it a few times. It ends up being a lot easier for them to figure it out than if I'm like trying to break it down step by step the whole way through. Because then they have less to think about. They're thinking about like the whole movement as a general, as opposed to like each individual step and increment along the way, which is like, that's like so much more tedious to get through.
It really is. I mean, I think I've like done a beginner class where we like really delved into like technique like once or twice ever, but it's usually like very generalized and a lot more about like get your body used to like this dancing rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, like this really heavy feeling like towards the ground because you're gonna want to pop up a lot, and that happens a lot, and that's okay. Like just notice that you're doing it. You know.
Yeah.
It's really cool here at Swing Maniacs because every room has mirrors, like really big mirrors, so you can see yourself.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So like it's like, hey guys, like if you need to look at your feet, awesome. Try not to look down at your feet. Look into the mirror into your feet, so that way you can see what you both are doing. And that really does help them a lot. Like giving them giving them points of interest to like take a look for. Like if this happens, then you can say to your partner, maybe you could try it like this. Look up in the mirror so you can actually see what you're doing. Maybe stop. Give yourself a chance to like get a breather and then restart.
Yeah.
That giving them the okays to like do things that they know they don't really do, but like when they enter dance class, they become like, I've forgotten everything. I've forgotten how to breathe.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that happens. I'm like, hey guys, remember to breathe.
Oh my God.
That you brought up a good thing like of teaching locally and like teaching Lenny Groove a bunch, and like for me locally here, it's so cool. Like I back home in Irvine, back in Orange County for Atomic and stuff, I taught locally every once in a while, but not really. But here it's like a syllabus, and I follow it. I go at my own speed. They give me so much leniency here. It's awesome. But like I go at my own speed. But I make sure they get it, and I've been really focusing a lot on like, especially the beginners, like giving them a lot of rhythm.
Yeah.
And I'm finding more and more, like again, from like I said at the top of the podcast, of like getting that idea again from Dawn. Like you gotta feel it.
Yeah.
Get that feeling, and it really does go a long way. And I'm like,
it does.
God damn it, I love this dance. It like reinvigorates me again.
What do you?
Like
Oh, go ahead. Oh, what do you think is the biggest difference between like teaching locally, teaching like a series of classes locally, as opposed to like traveling and teaching in a workshop?
Well, I mean, the first and biggest thing I think of is when you teach locally, you have more time, because usually it's like some kind of not just that 1 hour, it's multiple hours over multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Whether it's 3 hours over 3 weeks, 4 hours over 4 weeks, or 10 hours here, 10 hours over 10 weeks. And then at a dance weekend, it's just like once or twice with a certain level. So 1 or 2 hours, and that's it.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's not so much, I'm knowing that. I go into things knowing that, but it's also dependent on those teachers and those people that are there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I got confused. I mean, those students that got there, the students that are there, and it really depends on what they do and how they approach the weekend or their class. If they're ready to rock and roll, then we can go through fucking like 10 different topics. But if they're not and they're just like really chill about it, then we just stay on one.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit the same on both, but people go to dance weekends, events, ready to fucking rock and roll. Like they know they have 10 hours of classes over 2 days, so they're like mentally prepared and like they're ready to do this. And then for like local classes, they're like, well, if I don't get all, I could always come back next week, and that's okay to have. That's totally fine.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I really like about teaching local classes is that you get to really connect with your students and really understand where they're at with their dancing. Yes. So that way you can continuously help them along the way. And you get to like watch them progress, which is really cool, as opposed to like at workshops, you get to see them like, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. And you don't really have a lot of control over how their progress happens. You just get to give them like nibbles along the way, like here's a nibble, here's a nugget of information, and I'll see you next year. And then you come back and you're like, oh, you took that, or oh, you didn't take that, or you're not quite ready yet, or whatever.
You know what happens? What's funny is like a lot of the times it's like 1 out of 10 people will come back the next year if you come back to an event.
Yeah.
And that's always the tough thing. So it's always like a new crop. Like I've been to places where I've been to like multiple years, and it's always just a brand new crop of people. I'm just like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I gotta be okay having an agenda when I walk into a class, but at the same time, I have to be okay with fucking removing that agenda and catering towards my students that are there. Like you said before, like I completely agree. You get to, for local classes, you get to like really cater to what their needs are.
Yeah.
Because like I'll have like a beginning level class on Tuesday night and a beginning level class on Thursday night, and they're totally different. And this class may be learning a little bit faster than this class, so I know it's catered to a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't really like that on Swing Maniacs, but like at the same time, it's like I can't help it. Like that's the students, though.
Yeah.
And that's why when I walk into classes, like I like we were talking this before we popped onto the podcast, that we're like, is like I go into classes not with like a plan, but I'm ready to create a plan, because like and this is where we agree. Like we have a grab bag of topics.
Yeah.
And we can always put like a couple different topics together that will make a really good class. And at the same time, it's like I like to not have an agenda in a class, unless I've already seen them before, in which case I can kind of like, okay, well, they did this before. They're struggling on this. So this next class, I want to focus on this and get them to here.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's usually like my general plan for everything.
Have you had classes, or do you teach classes where the students want to just like sit and talk with you most of the time, like in a private lesson or like in a group class?
Mostly in private lessons, and mostly like in like teaching type things. Like I have a couple classes like where like that is what happens, and they don't know what to expect. Like I have this class. Like I have like a list of classes just in case people like events want to know, like, here's what you can pick from, but
Right.
like you don't really have to. Anyways,
They're
but
like,
it's just good to give them an
what kind
idea.
of classes do you teach? And you're like, these are the
Yeah,
classes
exactly.
that I teach.
They always end up asking, so I was like, instead of just like me writing it out every time, I'm like, here's a spreadsheet of this bullshit.
Yeah.
That doesn't really mean anything. But this is one class on there that's called Nikki named it a long time ago. It's called how to make friends and influence judges.
Ooh.
And it's basically it's a the first half of it is a Q&A about like the structure and the etiquette of dance contests like
Yeah.
Jack and Jills and Strictly's, and then we talk about some of our experiences and some of the things that we look for as judges, and then they ask questions about certain things like, what about if this happens, what about if this happens, and they start off kind of going what, and then by the end of that like first half they're like, oh, but we have so many more questions, and I'm like, it's cool, ask them in this next part because we're still gonna talk about it. And I go through like a mock thing.
Okay.
Other things are like I haven't done too many of them, but I really want to in the future maybe do teaching for people who want to learn how to teach.
Yeah.
Right. So like those always end up like that, like always Q&As where it's like, can we just sit and talk to you? Yeah. Like rarely do they happen, but when they happen, they always feel so cool because it's like Q&As and we get really into it and all this different stuff. And it always comes out the same.
Yeah.
Who cares what's right and wrong? Just go out there and try it. If it works, awesome. It may not work again. Just understand that. That's about it.
Yeah. Every group of students is going to be different.
Yeah.
This hasn't happened nearly as much since I've been in LA, but when I was in Albuquerque, I had a few people who would take private lessons from me every week. Now, I will say they were all like freshly divorced middle-aged men, but half the time they would come to my class and they would just want to like shoot the shit, just like talk about the shit that's going on in their lives. They didn't want to dance at all. And then they would want to pay me at the end, and I'd be like, we didn't do anything. And they'd be like, no, but I still took your time. Thanks. This was a great lesson.
Yeah.
And
that happens a lot. I mean,
I'm 25 years old, and like I don't know anything about divorce.
the wise wisdom of a 25-year-old. Yeah, totally. That happens. I mean, that happens. Has happened like once or twice, two different people that I've had private lessons like that before.
Yeah.
But like at Atomic, back in Orange County, like I know from a couple different teachers there, they're like, they just like to sit and talk and we just chat. And I'm just like, what's that like? Like, I wish I could have that.
I just want to chat. And I also like when I had the Rhythm Project, I had it was a certain level of class where like this group of people, they called themselves the Singles Club. They were all like people between like 35 and 65 years old who were all single and just like going out and having fun. They like became friends with each other, and like every week at the Saturday night dance, they'd go across the street to the gas station, and like someone would buy slushies every week for them, and they'd like rotate through who would get slushies. And
that's so adorable.
They were the cutest.
Oh my god,
it was so cute. But they were like a group of people who were not going to be amazing Lindy Hoppers. You know what I mean? Like they're all like older. But so they would want to spend like a large part of the class talking intellectually about everything. And they were smart and they understood everything on a very intellectual level, but they couldn't necessarily get their bodies to do it. And so they wanted to spend that time just like talking it out and
going through it the way they understand.
Yeah. It was fascinating.
I love groups like that. I really love, like, I've done a lot of those, like not like that, but like group people that are already their own, like a team or a group of people who are practice together, and then like ask for a group private or a group lesson, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they really understand each other, and they're really able to talk to each other, and we have this great conversation. And for those things, I usually ask for 2 hours because it's so much talking.
Yeah.
That I really wanna give them that much time and not have to have them worry about like containing it all in an hour or anything.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
group of people was like, I feel like that's like my number one achievement of students that I've ever
Yeah.
had, because they all started, they were not dancers before, and they like went all the way up through the classes of the Rhythm Project and like got really dedicated, and now they're all like helping run the scene, and they're teachers, and they're the ones who are keeping things going in Albuquerque right now.
That's
It's
so
so cool.
I mean, if we're talking so much about teaching, I just want to say one thing, that my event that I help run, and Rachel actually helps me so much with, is Inspiration Weekend, which registration opens up in 20 minutes, but by the time this podcast come out, it'll be already
Open.
And we have a track there that is dedicated to people wanting to learn more about teaching. And this year we have Peter Strom and Laura Glace as the heads of that. There will be 4 hours with them, but they also get 2 hours with who are our teachers? Nikki and Todd, and also Faulty and Nina. So they also get 2 hours with those other two teachers. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, inspirationweekend.com, registration, it will be open. I'm a little nervous as you're talking about this. I'm like looking at the clock, and I'm like, 20 minutes it opens. I hope it opens fine.
It's a stacked group of instructors this year. It's really hefty lineup.
Really cool. It's really cool. Like we really tried to get Peter and Naomi, because 2 years ago they had a teacher's track at Harangue.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a part of it. I would watch a couple of the classes, but I would be more interested because all the teachers, like there was like 5 sets of teachers that were in that track.
Yeah.
And every day at the end of the day, they would go into the back and they would talk about it. And I asked them, I was like, can I just sit in and listen to what you guys are talking about? And I was like, yeah. And the stuff they were talking about was just so fucking genius. And I was just like, these are so great. Like they had exercises and ways to do things to present it in a way that is like a normal class, but you're learning how to teach. And so I was just like blown away. We couldn't get Naomi because she was already booked in someone else. But I mean, Laura Glace is also another
awesome,
perfectly amazing dancer. First off, talented as fuck. And
AKA
and I know,
me.
Yeah. Short hair and glasses.
Short hair and glasses. What do you know?
But like, so we have them, and it's gonna be super cool. It's gonna be super cool. Awesome, great stuff. Good. Moving on.
So a bunch of people have started mistaking me for Laura.
Oh yeah, I've seen the fucking pictures, dude. It's ridiculous. Knuckles.
I think it's funny because like, okay, we're like the same height, and we both have like brown short hair. But I don't actually think we look that much alike. Brooks
Oh, no.
saw a picture of me and Nicole Zuckerman and tagged me as her.
Ruh-roh.
I know. It was really funny. But people have like started coming up to me and they're like,
no offense.
You guys look so much alike, and you're starting to dance like her. And I'm like, is that like actually
I think they're mentally
true?
projecting that.
I think they're projecting. Like, I don't feel like we dance that similar. Like, I definitely look up to her, and that is a compliment that they would say that to me because I love her dancing.
Yeah.
And there are like aspects of our personality that are very similar. Like, we're both like very big and loud and like I don't know. We both just have like a lot of character in our personalities, but
as soon as you look at the arms though, that's when you see the difference.
Yeah, I got like flabby babby arms, and she's got like.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but she's got monster muscles.
She got the monster muscles.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like there was a photo shoot we did this thing at a slow dance soiree like 2 years ago or last year, I can't remember. Anyways, but like she had just like gotten like fully ripped, and we were all like, damn. And so she just got turned her back and like did one of these like I'm a He-Man pose, and we all just kind of like were in shock.
You're like
this
oh
picture.
Damn.
Yeah, we were just in the picture going damn. Yeah.
Oh damn!
So
look at them muscles. They so great. Oh, I cannot believe my eyeballs. Oh damn!
I mean, we should just have one time. We should just have one episode where we just talk about Laura's arms, and that's it. That past 5 minutes of talking about Laura's arms is just for you, Brooks, out there, because I know you're listening.
You're
At work,
welcome.
at work. Hopefully you're enjoying this at work. Let's jump into the question of the day. Questions.
Question of the day. It comes from Matt Mitchell himself. It's a 2-part question.
Yeah, why don't you read that, Laura?
He says, asking for a friend honestly.
Sure.
That's what he thinks. He says, how do you deal with the jitters, nerves? Oh my God, I'm competing on a live stream at a major event and I'm paralyzed feelings so you can have a fun and enjoyable contest.
Question one.
And the second question is, how do you recover and learn from not placing as highly as you thought or not making finals so that one can improve or not go down the rabbit hole of my dancing is horrible, no one likes me, should I keep competing? How should I evaluate my dancing? Is this a Dunning-Krueger in effect? This is a super deep question.
I never saw any of the Friday the 13th movies, so I don't know what the Krueger is. The Freddy Krueger? Freddy Krueger.
Dunning-Krueger.
Nightmare. No, I even said the wrong movie series. It's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
Idiot. God.
Idiot. Jesus. Get your head out of your ass.
When you say idiot, I feel it in my loins. Like I feel
moves
like,
it
Jesus.
in your loins.
I'm sorry.
My loins are shaking.
They've fallen off. All my lions have fallen off.
Like an old leaf from a tree.
That's what they call me. Old Leafy.
Old Leafy.
So, okay, the first part of that question is really good. I mean, like,
how do you?
We've talked about nerves before, right?
Yeah. How do you deal with like being so nervous during a competition that you can hardly move?
Let it happen.
Yeah.
Be nervous. There's not one person I've met in our dance scene that is not nervous.
Yeah.
All of them are nervous in some way or another, and you just got let it happen. Be nervous. Use that energy to like fucking fire yourself up. I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm fucking nervous. So I'm gonna run around this dance room until I'm ready, until they call my name out. You know?
Yeah. I just totally lost what I was gonna say. Oh, I think being nervous is really good for you. I think it shows that you care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think it lights a fire under your ass. I have to say, every week in my improv class, I sweat profusely. I am so nervous every time I have to go up and perform in front of the class because I have no idea what's going to happen and I don't know how I'm going to react to it.
I mean, that's one of the reasons, like, that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone to see you yet, like, because I'm so nervous and I'm like I don't know, I know Rachel too much, like I can't be there. I'm not gonna be supportive. I'm just gonna be nervous for her, nervous for the moment.
I have to come home every week and change my shirt. I've like sweated through the armpits, like they are stanky.
I can imagine.
But like I think like that's good, and just like riding the wave, just like allowing yourself to feel those feelings is so good for you.
I mean, for me, like, I don't, another part of that, like, yes, it's so fucking good for you, but, like, at the same time, it's like, don't care so much.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares about all these people out there watching? Like, yeah, they you want them to have a good time, but, like, really, if you're not going to have a good time yourself, then why the fuck are you out there? So don't worry about the live stream. Don't worry about the people out there. Do it for you first, and remember that.
Yeah.
Because when you're dancing, it's only you and your partner out there.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
And I think especially during prelims or all skates, the chances of somebody looking at you are slim. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
so true.
The chances of somebody actually sitting there and watching you is not very high. So you don't have to worry. Yeah. And even during a finals, when you're in like a jam style contest, like you're only out there for like 30 seconds. 45 seconds at most. Like, just gather up the courage, do it, and then you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done.
I mean, it's gonna be so fast. Like, it's ridiculous. But at the same time, like, I totally understand. It's just find what works for you, and remember that you're that you're dancing for yourself and your partner first, before the live stream, before the fucking people out there, before the judges. And that's why I've said before, and like, I mean, we joked about it so many times, but like, that's why I'm like, when I perform, maybe I'll do a routine that's just face stage right, because I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm caring about the dance first, so who cares if I'm swinging out this way as opposed to this way? I'm sorry, but that doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it. And they're like, well, the judges. I'm like, well, fuck the judges. First off, like, I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
Like, I know but it's a dance contest. But it's like, dance first, dance first, and then contest. Dance.
I think it all comes back to like that honest self-assessment. Like, figure out what you need to calm you down or calm your jitters. If you're someone who goes out there and you're so nervous that you're completely paralyzed, which I've totally been there before many times, like, find what eases you and then harness that, you know?
Yeah. And then the next part of it, like, how do I recover? How do you recover from this stuff? And like, my dancing's horrible. No one likes me. Again, it's the same thing. Like, no one likes me. It's like, no one likes you for that moment. That thing, that minute and a half you just danced out there, it does not define before that moment or after that moment. That just defines that minute and a half you danced out there, and you could feel horrible about it. Like, I know I've been out there and I've been like, wow, that was really bad, but I'm able to then kind of like look at it and be like, it takes me like an hour or two, but like after I come down from the adrenaline, I'm like, okay, that was bad because I freaked out. I was ahead of time. Like, I was being a dick. I didn't eat well. Like, you know, whatever. I wasn't feeling it. Couldn't hear the music. Whatever excuse that you got to make for yourself for feeling shitty in that moment. Go with it and just be like, just be like, okay, I had that moment and that's it. Yeah. Moving on. Now, how do I fix it so it doesn't happen again? Or what do I need to do? Or do I even care? And just move on and just be like, okay, I just need to remember that I need to dance. I need to dance for myself.
And it doesn't even mean that they didn't like you. It just means that somebody in that moment was better than you. They could have liked you, but they could have liked somebody else just a little bit more. It could have been a total toss-up, you know?
Yeah, it is that definitely. You're actually very, very right. Yeah.
Everyone heard the podcast at ILHC where I talked about how terrible I felt in that competition. Like, I left feeling so defeated. And what's funny is I saw Carl after we recorded that Sunday night, and he was like, did you see the results? And I was like, no, why would I go look at the results? Yeah. Like, we didn't make finals. And he was like, but we were the alternates. And I was like, oh, really? And then I went on and watched the prelims, and I was like, we did not look half as bad as what I thought we had done.
Right, you know, right, like, right. So you could be your worst critic, right?
Yeah. Like, I watched it and I was like, oh, we're actually like hanging with the people who are in the finals. We just like weren't quite as tight as they were.
Right. Which is understandable because like you said before, like you guys only danced like 6 months before that a couple times at a social dance. And you were like, hey, that was fun. We should do it again.
Yeah.
But in that sense, like, you got to understand what happens before that. You know, like, did you put a lot of work into it and maybe you didn't make finals? Yeah, maybe you can be fucking upset about that. But maybe you just met that weekend and like you decided to compete and you made alternate.
Like me and Carl.
Yeah, seriously. That is the fucking idea of this podcast. That is the bright side of it.
That is the bright side.
You made the alternate. Like, good times.
I felt pretty accomplished with that afterwards because I was like, we didn't practice at all. We hardly even planned. Like, we signed up for the competition at the event.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we put zero thought into it.
There's like a bunch of people out there. Like, for some reason, I've been like connecting a lot with Remy, and like the last 2 years at ILHC, we would spend Sunday night talking all night after the dance until like the sun came up about how shitty we felt about the weekend.
Yeah.
Every year. And then we always find a way to like talk ourselves out of it together. Like, we're like, and then we're like, God, but I fucked up on this and like the practice and this and that and then but when we're out there, it felt so nice. And then like the audience, and then like it felt really great. And then by the end of the talk, we're like, yeah, we feel a lot better about this. Like, so sometimes it just feels good to like talk it out with somebody and get these fucking raw emotions out there, and then you feel good about it.
The funny thing about Remy, though, is that like he killed it at ILHC this year.
Yeah, of course. That
like,
motherfucker always kills it. But like he is his own worst fucking critic, and it is incredible the things he says about himself. I'm just like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, so that goes to show you, like, everyone could see you as like this fucking shining star and like you're burning bright in the sky. But really, you look at yourself as like the fucking dust in space that is just burning up to die. Like, as opposed to just like this beautiful thing that everybody sees. You're like, I'm burning.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think it all comes back to that self-assessment. Like, how do you assess yourself from a really objective point of view?
Yeah.
And I think that takes like some serious thought and consideration on your part.
And,
like, that's going to take a
like
lot of introspection.
And bringing it back to like how we said at the beginning, like, is this kind of like, what kind of person are you? Are you willing to put in all that work, not just that physical work of dancing, but like the emotional and intellectual parts of it that go along with it? I said a lot of times in classes, like, and this is gonna be like my bright side for today. It's like, treat dancing like the very simple idea of like a yin and yang, like a dark and a light, not a negative and a positive, but like a more sense of like your thinking side and your emotional side. You have to have both to be a whole person. And in this dance, we have to have that, especially the way we think about it nowadays. In these classes, we think sometimes like super intellectually and super analytically, but sometimes you just gotta sit back and let the rhythm move you and make it move you from internal, like make that pulse. If we're going to call it pulse, then really got to get that fucking heart pumping in the music. And that is my bright side, whether you're teaching or whether you're dancing in a contest or you're dancing for yourself or you're sitting in the corner at ILHC at fucking 3 a.m. and you're making each other laugh. That is my bright side.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I like that. I think my bright side is just thinking that like the dancing is so much more than just the dance. It's the learning how to be a better person, how to interact with people, how to communicate with people, how to behave better. Because I think all of that will come out in your dancing at the end of the day. Whether you're competing or whether you're just social dancing or you're teaching or you're learning, like all of that stuff is going to come forward at the end. And I think the more introspective you can be about that stuff, the more honest you can be about it.
Yeah. Really, when you get to the basic of it, is like, how well did you communicate with this other person?
Yeah.
That's it. And like, that's why I love so much about this podcast that we do, because like, even though we're in the fucking opposite sides of the world, like we get to connect like this and let other people hear into what we do. And, you guys,
I have to say.
What? What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Are you going to say something that makes me feel uncomfortable again?
Yeah.
God damn it.
I was just going to say that I really like that I get to see you every week, even though you're on the opposite side of the world, because if we weren't doing the podcast, then we wouldn't be talking all the time like this. Do you know what I mean? Okay, sorry.
Idiot.
Idiot. God, what a dick. What a dick.
Oh,
Jeez.
God. Oh, no.
Mushy
no, totally.
over there.
Totally fucking love you, Rach. Totally fucking love you. It's awesome. So everybody, we're going to bring this podcast to an end here. You guys can see us on the Facebooks, on the SoundCloud, on the iTunes. Tom Yen.
So many accents in that sentence. Oh my God.
Oh my God. So
What a
please
dick.
keep sending us your questions, because we love them. Hopefully you guys will hear your question on this Brightside podcast. We're gonna keep doing it. This is our 10th episode, Rach.
Yay! Time to
Celebrate good times.
times. Come on.
This is gonna be horrible when I have to edit. This is gonna be horrible.
Celebrate good times. Come on. Oh, what's the next line? This is a celebration.
No, that's it. That's it. That's how I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it. I was like, what's the next line? That's it.